So how is this working exactly? Like, I don't see the stream or anything.
Derrick was getting that all together. He hasn't gone live yet.
I am officially live now.
Okay, do you have a link?
Yes. Where do you want me to post it?
I can go in voice chat.
I'm sorry?
There's a channel called voice chat where if you're talking about something in voice, it tends to be more relevant. Speedrunning works too.
So I guess as soon as we start, me and Ctack just lead the channel, like the voice channel.
Yeah, sounds good.
This will be fun. Really
yeah,
excited.
good luck. Good luck, man.
Good luck to you as well. We'll see how this goes. Jaxus didn't generate it, so it might be alright.
Shots.
Which, if we're live on the restream, that means that he'll be able to see that, so, or hear that.
You are live, by the way.
Sweet.
So if we're watching the Twitch, will there be a bit of a delay between what's on screen and the commentary, or?
Yes, there will be a little bit of a delay.
Oh, okay, just checking.
Which I should watch in stream and not in OBS.
Yeah, because we'll be on a different page.
Okay, there we go. Everybody good to go?
Yep.
Alrighty then, on your marks, get set, go.
This will be a bit of a different setup, but hopefully it should go good.
I hope so. I am, unlike the Mighty Feasel, not able to do the delays, the timers match or anything.
Yeah, things will be a little bit off for people watching, but hopefully it's not too annoying. The moth tutorial is actually really good, the Uncle quote there. It's really handy to learn for the boss fight. Personally, standard mode is probably my favorite. I really like the rain. You know, some people might find Escape more boring, but it kind of it lets you get your head into the seed, so you get to practice a little bit of execution. So you're starting to warm up, you know, and then as you slow get items, when you come out of Sanctuary, you can start to formulate your game plan. You get to think about how you want to approach the rest. You know, it's very common to go to Kakariko, but it doesn't mean you have to in standard mode.
I'll agree. I don't actually see a whole lot of standard race, mostly open. So it's actually quite nice to see standard.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, in case you or anyone else isn't aware. Ooh, nice bomb drop. Always happy to see. And standard was the original mode, but apparently, if I'm not mistaken, Christus wanted a way to start the race without the sword, and so that's kind of what spawned open. The original tournament was standard, but then I was a little bit upset that they made the most recent tournament open, but that's the one that garnered a lot more attention. You know, that's just where the popularity really starts to spike. So a lot of people are very familiar with open, but not so much standard. It's a little bit different, but in the grand scheme of things, not too different. The big thing I like that a lot of people may not really consider is that with open, part of the problem is that you tend to spend the first 6 minutes going to Kakariko anyway, whereas in standard you tend to spend that time in escape, or maybe even a little bit less. And so in those terms, while you're collecting your initial items, it's pretty much the same. But the benefit of standard is that you get to you don't have to worry about the route you take at the very start. You know, sometimes a person might go to Uncle first, someone might go to Sanctuary first, and those differences can actually add up 2 minutes. Not 2 minutes, but they can add minutes to either player's race, you know, depending on the item, you know, if they get flute or boots or what have you. So what I like about standard is that it kind of lets you get a read on the siege right from the get-go. You get to plan things after escape, and you don't have to worry about losing on a dice roll from starting your match.
That makes sense, like the great unifier of runs.
Yeah, because a lot of the time it's not even so much the seed that you're playing, it's your opponent, right? If you're racing, you're playing to your opponent's tune. So if they pick a route that's different from yours, there's both the potential for them to do worse or for them to do better, just given the fact that they went left and you went right. So in terms of competitiveness, I kind of like to mitigate that if I can. The game is still random and there's still going to be different decisions, but then it lets execution, it lets implementation really shine a lot more while still having intelligent routing.
This is entirely true. So if I'm looking correctly, they just got hammer and flippers as progression items. Do you think they're going to make a play for Kakariko Village, or will they diverge?
Kakariko is very comfortable play to do, but given the fact they have a hammer, they could do something like mini mold arm. The hammer hitbox is really tricky when facing north. It's a little bit disjointed as opposed to all the other directions of the animation. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did go to Kakariko. In standard, a common thing to do is to, if you have a bottle, go to Kakariko, and if you don't, hold off on it. Or, you know, if you have money as well, because you need money for the ball merchant. So it's kind of up to player discretion, but that's kind of a very, you know, simple game plan, is to hope that you have a bottle or money, and if not, then you might choose an alternative.
That makes sense.
It's kind of interesting. Walther hammered the pot with the heart in there. Something to note is that if you have to go through an object, it's quicker to pick it up. But if you are only collecting an item under a pot, then you want to hammer it. That would be quicker. So, for example, in Thieves' Town, after you open the first big key door, there is a pot in the top right with a key under it. It's actually quicker to hammer it than pick up the pot. In the case of Walther with picking up that heart, it would have been quicker to lift it up, but we're also talking, you know, just a couple frames. So it's, in the grand scheme of things, not a big deal. But some of those little things that, you know, it kind of helps round out your gameplay, or, you know, make you approach the game a little bit more differently.
True.
Not using the hammer is fun, of course. I'm always a fan of people playing the way they like to play. There's a fast and an optimal way to play, and then there's a personal way to play. You know, if people try to do something they're not comfortable with, then it won't matter if it's supposed to be faster. In terms of how they actually perform, it'll probably be worse. So always do what a person enjoys the most, and it'll probably end up being the quickest for them.
In a weird way, hammer is one of my favorite ways to progress. Even if I've got Master Sword, I'm like, I'd rather pull out that hammer and get good.
Yeah, definitely. It has the added benefit of both being a weapon and a utility. So it can make things like traversing much easier. When you're in the dark world and you don't have the hammer, all of a sudden you have to plan your loop, you have to plan your approach, you know, much more diligently. And when you're trying to juggle everything else, it can get a little bit overwhelming.
It's all in how you micro, right?
Not just lots of micromanagement. That's kind of fun. Different players have, different approaches and how they like to go about things. But pretty interesting. So it looks like Ctack is doing, kind of the more traditional, check the poles and the trees and the hoarders. And Walther just went straight to into the Lost Woods there. So it'll be a little bit of a time divergence here, but where Ctack would make it up is in the event that Walther gets the boots and then later comes back to check the lumberjack. And I think that was a shield or a heart. That might have been hearts. They got color blue, so I don't
didn't
know
quite
if
see
overworld
it.
hearts get blue. Yeah, it was really quick. It was either a blue shield or a blue heart, I'm pretty sure. I haven't really watched too much or played too much since the update, so if the blue hearts changed their hearts from red to blue, then I'm guessing that's what it was.
I
You skip the
don't.
ball upgrade. It's like the best item, man. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, as someone who plays with blue hearts, the drops are still red.
Oh, okay, good to know. And so I'm guessing the item is still red then too. Yeah, so maybe it was a shield. Again, it was still really quick. But yeah, lots of money. It's really nice for them.
Don't really have to worry about buying bombs, going to the bottle vendor. You're pretty much set at this point.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so Blind's Hut having a blue shield means that now the shield from Lumberjack will probably be the magic shield. And there's our moon pearl. And the fire rod's really nice too.
Correct me if I'm wrong, all they need is gloves for Dark World, and they can almost immediately go to Skull, correct?
Yep, that is correct. They just need gloves, and they could go into Dark World via Kakariko or Sethyling's house. And they could go to Moth, but considering how low health they have right now, and while there might be progression, it's a little bit daunting to go to. Lots of bomb upgrades, that's nice. Not just money. Yeah, while they're going to the bomb hit here. It's definitely really handy to have. There's a 50-50 bomb drop in the bushes out there. It's obviously hard to go over which bush it is at the moment, but in the event that you need emergency bombs, you can go to that bush, hope for a bomb, or you can have a bomb and then blow up the hut, and then it will always generate at least 4 bombs in each corner. You can take out a rat and hope that the prize pack will also have bomb drops as well, but either way, definitely good to make use of it. Nice little thing to be cognizant of.
Do you happen to know if it's faster to just buy the bombs or go to the bomb hut? Is that a better move?
If you have the money, it's definitely quicker, but in the early game, it's kind of up to a player. Like, sometimes people will not buy from the bomb merchant to save the $100 to instead buy bombs or to use it for potential Zora money. Because with the Moon Pearl, it's very common to go South Shore with Mini Moldar on the dam and then Ice Rod, and then Fake Flipper to Zora. So, Walther sitting at 410 rupees right here. If he chose to use those, he would be at more of a deficit, and there's no guarantee that he'll find more along the way. It's not too bad to get rupees, but the big thing about Rando is that you want to, when you go to an item location, you're not actually losing time picking up that item, because when you think about it logically, every player is going to get that item. So where is the time loss? The time loss is in the execution of actually grabbing the item, so the little things, but then how you got to that item. So, you know, if everyone's going to Zora, it's no time loss to go to Zora, but how you went to Zora is where the time loss meant. If you have to go and farm rupees, that's where the time loss is. You know, if you don't route it inefficiently, or you have to double dip, like if you know, go to Zora's domain and then you go back later with the flippers and then you go to Catfish later, that's 3 dips into that general area. Grabbing the items from Catfish and Zora don't cost the time. It's the time that you spent traversing and maneuvering around. So like Walther here, going to the dam area where Ctack2 is, they're both doing the same thing. There's no time loss between each other going to those locations.
This is true.
That's why it's really interesting to watch players too. Just the way they move. I think for me that's a really interesting thing. And then knowing who, like, you know, speedrunners and whatnot are, or newer people, the way they kind of approach things, it can really make it entertaining for me to kind of see how they move from location. Because you know they're going to go to the location, but it's how they move. Unfortunately, Ctack takes the death there. This is very tricky. Like, I've died to the Moldorms before. It's incredibly difficult to use the hammer on them. Like, deceptively difficult. Not just hard, but it's actually very deceptive. You can already see Walther here just going, nope, switching straight to the fire rod. Doesn't want to mess with the hammer as best he can, and going to use bombs too. If you can get the Moldorms below you, or even to your side, given, you know, even with a narrow area, then you can do it. But typically you have low health.
Looks like he's got Zora money, though.
Indeed, he got lots of money. Ctack could have actually skipped the entire cave, and he would have been okay. And yeah, he's using the fire rod here. Looks like he's going to try and hammer for a little bit. Oh my goodness, that Moldorm. Yeah, he just used a potion. I agree with that. That was really rare RNG. It just went straight towards him.
It was on a seek and destroy mission is what that was.
Yeah, that was exceptional. And he's probably going to be like, oh great, not too much here. But the money is still good. A lot of the early checks, like a person might think, oh, red rupee, you know, oh, bombs or whatever, it's not really useful. It's quality of life stuff for the rest of the run. So it's honestly, you know, really good to get. You're looking for progression, but it cannot be, you know, understated just how good, you know, even those little things are. And the more red rupees you find early on just means there's going to be more worth later. And then they do help you in terms of, you know, buying and spending on things.
Because it's 500 for Zora, and then it's 140 for Kiki, if I remember correctly.
It's 110. To hire Kiki is 10 rupees, and then you, if you get hit, then you have to rehire him, and then the flat fee for opening is 100. But yes, 500 for Zora. It looked like Ctack was gonna toss a ball in or something, but not entirely sure. I've never actually used that mechanic myself, but if he was able to fill a bottle, that would have been really good. I don't know if that fairy actually does it.
I don't have enough data to know, but I know Fat Fairy does bees, and I don't know if that's randomized each time you throw, or randomized for each seed. I don't have enough data for that one.
Yeah, me neither. That's something I should definitely look into. And just while they're moving through the area, it's actually quicker to swim in the water than it is to walk on land, and it's quicker to walk on land than it is to walk on water. So in Zora's domain, if you don't have the flippers, then you want to make sure that you're on the land for as long as possible. And if you do have flippers, then to try and swim as much as possible. And Walther now going into the waterfall cave there. You can actually use that rock after the warp to line up. So if you are perfectly flush with that rock, and you'll go straight into the entrance. So it looked like he kind of had it, but then he readjusted. So one of those little things that, once you learn it, you know it. But if you don't know it, then, it's not really in your mind to do. But, little things add up over time. It's quality of life stuff, really. And yeah, you see Walther swimming here, which is quicker than walking on that water. And then, yeah, swimming across. However, it's comfortable to the player. So that he's walking inland here because it's really difficult to get a proper lineup for swimming. But it's good that he's aware of it.
Looks like Ctack found the shovel in Saha's hut. So that could send him down to Grove if he was in the area. I don't know that I personally would go for it, but might be something.
Yeah, it can be hard to say. Sometimes we get an item and it's like, oh, this must lead to progression. But, and that's the whole big thing about routing, is that checking the shovel itself is not a bad idea. But if you're able to pair it later, that makes it a better idea. Because in Dark World, you have to go to the Grove. There's the stump kit anyway. So you can kind of gamble on the fact that, okay, I'm betting there isn't maybe, immediate progression there. So I'm going to wait until maybe I get the mirror or until things dry up. And then I'll go. And then that would be the time save. Getting the shovel, checking the shovel item within a limited scope isn't the time loss, but the travel between it.
If you can get the flute and mirror, it's the hat trick. You've got, like you said, the stump boy, you've got flute, and you've got shovel all within, what, a minute and a half check of each other?
Yeah, and that's really the trick too. Just trying to pair everything and going through it all together. Let's look Walther. So there was a power glove too. So they both have Dark World access now, if I'm not mistaken. It looks like Walther is opting to. They did standard, so he doesn't need to check back this gate. So he might be going to Kakariko and entering from there. Having the fire rod would mean he could do Moth as well.
Do you think that's a gamble he's going to do, or do you think he's going to go to Thieves first?
It's hard to say because I'm not entirely familiar with Walther's play. You do get a few items in Skullwoods, but if you're confident in your execution, then there's really no reason not to, except for the fact that because the Dark World portal is so central to a lot of areas, you could say, well, I'm going to check Thieves Town. I already have the hammer, so I can completely do Thieves Town. And then the event I get Massive Sword, Boots, or, something else, then it might speed up Skullwoods, like, a better sword, or some more safety. Or even, like, half magic.
That's fair enough. It looks like he might be going back to Thieves, though.
That's definitely a good play. If you lose time on Moth, then, you just lost more time in terms of the travel, so it wouldn't be worth it. And again, it's like, you have the hammer, you have, the fire rod, you have, a sword. You can definitely make do with Moth, but if you're not able to do it as quick, then the time that you'd spend on the fight alone could eat up simply the travel time between areas. Ctack, finishing out Eastern, I don't think he's really gotten too much just yet. Not having Lantern means that this is a sequence break, so it does potentially mean that there is less value here, given that they already have Dark World. That's a very nice 8-bomb drop, though. Oh, another one, go get them! You got, like, a ton of upgrades. No! I love bombs. It's unfortunate to see them disappear. Yeah, Walther getting some more hurt, so some more safety for Moth. Just guaranteeing that it won't be an issue. I don't think we had a map check, actually, now that I think about it. Yeah, more hearts for both players, actually.
A lot of hearts, which is, like you said, it's a better way to fight Moth. I personally would hold off as long as possible for Moth. That's my weakest boss, because it's a terrible boss.
Yeah, it kind of depends on your approach. Like for myself, if I entered in for Kakariko, I think I would have done the same thing. I think I would have gone to town. You don't have the gold mitts, so it's not like you can fully check town, but you have a hammer, so you can clear through town anyway. So that's a guaranteed 4, and then town itself has about 2 or 3, depending on how you want to go about it. So you're already getting about 6 or 7 items, and then Skull will have 2. So 6 or 7 items, this is heart pieces, money, there's still a potential for a lot. It could be a sword, it could be a mail, it could be boots, it could be, just whichever, any little thing really can make an impact. Safety item, a bottle.
It looks like Hype Cave was just the Heart Piece Cave, though, so it could be hype, it could be not, depending upon how you're viewing Heart Pieces at this point.
Yeah, sometimes the early heart pieces are pretty welcome. Again, just more safety. And Ctack, he could be going into the town being like, yeah, okay, I feel okay from off, and then just go straight into Skullwoods. You never know.
He's not going to be able to go into town from this angle, though, without gold mitts, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. He can do shovel game. Some players like to go this route because you cannot do the shovel game while having the purple chest. So in the event that you do the blacksmith route, you would not be able to carry the chest with you. So getting the shovel game out of the way can be handy. And this also means that maybe he just won't have to do the more southern Dark World tour. So when he goes to town, he can go to Thieves and then just go back up and kind of work in a clockwise direction, going from Thieves to Skull, and then all the way to possibly Mirror Ledge, and then having the flippers, they could jump over, go to Catfish, and work their way south to Pyramid and Pod. So, again, it's all how a person likes to route it and the items they have, but he's definitely poised to have a very solid route. They both are really. It really depends on the items that they get from here on out, knowing what we already currently know. Another heart container.
It looks like Skullwoods is going to be a good play right after.
Yeah.
You have no reason not to do it.
Yep. It's starting to look pretty healthy, or a 1/2 of a health bar.
I think the only deterrent would be the lack of sword, if I'm correct, and not having half magic for the fire rod. So you've got about 4 to 5 shots, maybe, with the fire rod.
Oh, right. I forgot for some reason I thought they had the sword. No, they definitely do need the sword, but there's a very good chance that the sword will in fact be in Skullwoods, or very close to them. But yeah, that's a really good point.
You just reminded me that they can't even get to the boss without the sword because of the vines on the wall, so at this point it even doesn't matter.
Yeah, I would say, just given the kind of things they checked, they're kind of starting to run out of options, so I would not be surprised to see a sword very soon. Yeah, it looks like Ctack is actually going to go straight to Skullwoods. But the only thing they can really do is, while they're being very safe here, which is definitely good. You don't want to die. But and making good use of the powder for the fairy there.
That was a quick powder.
Yep. If you know where the bunny beams are, you can actually use the powder on the pot, and the fairy will just come out. So you don't need to lift the pot, throw it, and then powder. You can just powder the pot, and it'll come out.
I'm learning so much.
Oh, that's one item in Skullwoods. Just a hard piece, but really what they're looking at is they have Agina over in the desert area. They've already checked Zora. So they have Agina, and they have Pod. Pod could be bowlocked, and they don't have a lantern. So Pod might not necessarily have what they Ctack taken death. Pod might not necessarily have what they want. So we're kind of looking at the rest of Skullwoods we're looking at if there is another item in these, and we're looking at Agina, and then yeah, like things are definitely really running out. They could sequence break a couple of things, but okay, so map from blind, so you dig out all items, and it's actually a pendant dungeon.
With thieves, if you're there, you might as well at a certain point.
Yeah, it can be hard to say. Like for me, if thieves is a pendant, especially not a green pendant, and I have more place, and he doesn't have tech. Skullwood's a pendant, so that means something in Light World is a pendant. But for me, I kind of like always like doing the first 4 of these. But if it's a pendant, I'm not always sold on doing the rest of it. But they're starting to kind of dry up for progression. Pod is starting to look very strong at the moment. It could be that Pod actually will have a weapon, which might lead them back to Skullwoods, but hard to say.
It's that.
It is a pendant too, so it's not like they have to do it, but you can never count anything out.
True. I think it's the first chest in Pod is the only one you can't get, or the only one you can get without bow, if I'm correct.
In version 26 of the logic, that was the case, but they changed that. It now depends on how the dungeon's laid out. But if there is no key in the first chest, then yes, you do need the bow. And just 10 arrows from the stone kid. So Walther will finish his tour here, but yeah, it's starting to run out. Ooh, mirror for Ctack.
That opens up a lot.
That was necessary. Actually opens up Swamp Palace. So Ctack's route will pay off really well here as he works down the southern tour. He already checked Stumpkin and whatnot. So if he chose to go to the Mirror Cave in the Grove, it's a single one-off location, but he could work north to, like I kind of mentioned earlier, the King's Ledge. So he can mirror, and then he has the flippers, and he can walk and go straight to Pod if he wants. Or he could go south to the cave in the Grove, the Mirror Cave, and then go to Swamp Palace. No hookshot though, which makes it a potential double dip.
Now, he got both items from Skull Woods, and so unless it's a pedestal, he probably won't be back.
Yeah, things are starting to get a little bit more linear. Obviously, the mirror will be a big thing here, and Ctack will have to go through. Like he'll go through thieves and whatnot, but yeah, for Walther, it'll be really interesting to see what he finds. Because yeah, we have the pyramid, we have catfish, and Pod for him really. In the bushes where Ctack is, there is a 50-50 bomb drop as well. He didn't pull the 50-50 bush though.
More health.
Yep. Very healthy seed, but it's drying up. So it's starting to get linear, and it looks like he's going to go for catfish. I definitely, as much as I love to dip swamp, I think the pod play is probably the better play personally. When you think of dungeons, you have to also think of where you're allocating the time. When you're going through swamp, a lot of the chests are kind of on the way, but a lot of the time is really front-loaded. So in terms of a double dip, you're spending a lot of time in the front just to get to the heart of the dungeon, and then you're spending the time to go get the items if you are double dipping. With pod, the layout is you get into the interior much quicker. You're not necessarily going through a lot of items in the way, so the time isn't as front-loaded. So even if you have to double dip, it's not as big of a time loss.
And Pod is a quicker lock time because the swamp is hookshot locked. So they've got to check a couple cases, and then they may be out, and they've burned that time.
Yeah, with pod, you're kind of gambling that it, whether you need the bow. The bow locks 2 items and potentially the entire dungeon, but not necessarily an entire dungeon. The time it takes to actually get to pod, you could think of taking the same amount of time to go to the light world, drain the water, go back to the dark world, and enter. So they're fairly comparable in that regard, but then in Swamp you have to go in, go around, do your whole thing, and they actually do have the lanterns, so there's no dark room. Just having seen that. So I actually do think the pod play is a really strong play myself. Or, yeah, the mountain, that's true. And a lot to keep track of. There's no item trackers, so it's kind of like trying to, make sure that you catch everything visually. But yeah, the mountain's in sequence to the mirror. It's the entire mountain. So yeah, pod is a good play, but the mountain is a really good play too. The mountain might actually be better now that I've kind of been made aware of that.
Same here. I saw the lamp and was like,
Yeah, the issue is that Walther doesn't actually have the mirror, I don't think, but he finds the flute, which is really good. It doesn't open too much, but mountain is definitely in sequence. If they have the Titan's Mitt, it could go to Meyer area, but without the mirror, he's actually not going to be able to get up. Ctack, however, has the mirror and can go straight to the mountain. So this is really good for Ctack, actually.
can easily make that Hera play with the lamp.
Yep, they have the fire source for Hera, so they can do all of Hera, and they can get to the eastern portion. There's an ice rod. That's potentially handy, considering it's a crystal. Turok's a crystal, that is.
I feel like this is the earliest I've seen both fire and ice rod at the same time.
It's definitely nice to see them early. Sometimes they can be very trolly. You can find fire rod or ice rod both in Turok, which makes it a little bit anxiety-inducing to actually go into Turok. Looks like Walther not having the mirror, so he's starting to run out of options. He doesn't have Swamp. He only has Pod. So he's probably thinking, okay, I'm gonna check Shell's spot here. Looks like Ctack went back to 10.
Oh, for the flute. I was like, for what? I forgot he had the flute.
Yeah. Yeah, he got on the mountain, so it would have been ideal for him to continue going on the mountain, because, again, when you think of it, he's coming here to activate the flute, and then for him to go back to the mountain, he has to call, and then go back to the mountain. So effectively what he's losing is a flute, call, and wait, and to go to the mountain, in terms of time. That and an extra save and quit. When you first activate the flute too, the duck takes a little bit longer to get called. If you have the boots, you can actually hit A and Y at the same time. You can hit the boots and the flute at the same time, which will cancel the initial lag from activating the flute. It takes about 6 seconds, I think, for the duck to get called, but longer when you first activate it. But if you have the boots, then you can cancel that. So there's no time loss in regard to that.
You can cancel the animation, the first animation with the boots?
So when you first free the duck, there's kind of like a cooldown. You know how it'll fly around in a circle and then go off screen? It'll take even if you call the flute, nothing will happen. You need to wait a couple seconds and then you call, and then the duck will be on its way. But normally when you call it, it comes pretty quick. But right after that animation, there's a little bit of a cooldown. If you have the boots, you can do like an item dash with the flute, and the duck, it'll not have that recovery. The duck will come much sooner.
Okay.
It'll come in the same amount of time as normal.
I completely misunderstood and thought you meant the activation where it breaks out of the statue. I was like, I've literally never seen anyone skip that.
Yeah, and I don't think you will for now. But yeah, I'm sorry. It's a little bit kind of like a little tricky to kind of explain. Assuming I'm even doing a good job of it, but
No, I'm learning a lot.
well, it's good. There's a lot to learn about this game. Like, there's still a lot for me to learn too. But the thing that kind of bugs me about rando commentary that I've mentioned in the past before is that a lot of them they'll just do play-by-plays, but they won't actually talk about the game. So you have a lot of commentators that are a fan of the game, but it's like most people watching, they kind of have an idea what's going on. Like, you know, people aren't stupid, but the commentators kind of take them on a journey along with the seed. You know, they kind of provoke thoughts or bring up scenarios. And so, you know, for myself, I like to try and add, you know, pepper in some of the information because, you know, it's still an infant in terms of, you know, the game's lifespan and how much, you know, tech and different, you know, little tricks there are. So for my part, I try to share what I've learned. And, yeah, and, you know, just kind of cross-pollinate between everyone, learning and improving. It's a lot of fun.
No, I hadn't heard of Randomized since last Thanksgiving, and I was like, this is amazing. Why have I not heard of it before? And I've learned so much just since then watching it, but commentating, it's a whole different ballgame. Like, I'm just here to make you look good.
It's okay. It's definitely intimidating. Comes the time. I mean, I make a lot of mistakes too, and you know, like forgetting that lantern and whatnot. Well, all comes the time. All comes the practice. So Walther took a little bit of a gamble. When you go into Skullwoods, when you drop down from that entrance, the key in that room is always guaranteed. There's always going to be a key in that room. So what you can do is you get to check 2 chests before you, like, when you check the one chest and all the pits appear, you're basically gambling that one of those 2 chests will be a key. But because it wasn't, you had to come down and go through that key room. It's a very common thing to see. It's probably, in my opinion, the better thing to do, just because, you know, if you try to go from the top chest and work your way down, you're just banking on the fact that you're going to go to the extra key room anyway. So you're kind of gambling a little bit of walking time versus entering an entire room and traversing the entire room and lifting out the pots and grabbing a key. So you definitely made the right choice there and got to that. And I guess the fun little thing this year that Walther is in, if there is a sprite on the screen, the Wallmaster, like if the enemies are on the screen, but then there's like a heart or something like that, the game will actually not load the Floor Master. Like, it's very common to kill the 2 jellies, but then leave the 2 Gibdos and try and push and pull the statue around them. And if there's something like a heart or rupee, there's too many sprites, and the Wallmaster will not fall for some reason in that room.
Huh. Again, the more you know.
Yeah, it's some enemies you actually want to kill simply for lag purposes, like in Swamp Palace, the rooms of the switch in order to fill the water. The skeletons actually cause lag. If you kill skeletons, the water will fill quicker. And even in an adjacent room, if you kill some of the enemies, it'll make the water fill quicker. Just because it removes the lag frames.
And it looks like Ctack is going to be taking on Moldworm with just the hammer, which I personally enjoy.
Yeah, there's something cathartic about hammering this massive worm, but having a little trouble with it. It's definitely a tricky fight to get used to. You can kind of like the more you do it, the more you get used to a lot of the patterns. It's not too bad, but it, you know, can catch anyone off guard. You know, even after years of playing, a person can still get caught off guard and get knocked by Moldworm. But yeah, finishing up Paris is be good for him. Walther getting his mirror, which is really good. So he's going to check the ledge. I don't know if he's going to go back to the mountain. He already checked a bit of the mountain, and he does have a lot of it open to him, but he might just kind of do kind of. Yeah, I'll know. Here, check catfish. So he probably. I don't see why he wouldn't go to the mountain. If you hadn't checked catfish, you could have checked catfish, or hadn't checked pyramid, he could check pyramid, and then made his way down. But yeah, he's gonna flit away. It's probably gonna go to the mountain.
It looks like Ctack might do Spiral Cave, and then he's going to be in a good position for the Green Pendant, Pod, and that's it. Eastern is already done. No, wait. No, it's not.
Yeah, they do have a lantern, but they don't have the bow. So late bow might actually mean that I wasn't counting the items in Eastern, but if there is an item in Eastern, late bow might mean that there is progression in Eastern. Just on the final Armos, but of course it is a time sink to go do. I don't know if it's a pendant or crystal. If it's a crystal, it's no brainer, and they do have a mirror. So after the mountain, I think the play will probably be to go to Pod, and while you go to Pod, you can cash in the green pendant. You can just mirror in the maze and go, straight to Sashala. Walther has not checked Eastern, so for him, he'll be able to check. He might just go ahead and check that too, with or without the bow. Yeah, it looks like Ctack is being very wary of his health situation. Ooh, he just barely dodging that dead rock.
Was a good throw, though.
Yeah, just, oh my goodness. If he was 1 pixel lower, he was getting hit by the dead rock. Yeah, without the boots, I like to call Spiral Cave Pump Cave. Just because of the movement technique that you make use of in here. It's kind of like a cinnamon roll room. Cinnamon roll cave in a way.
I'm going to need you to stop talking about food, because I'm going to have to go find food if you keep going.
My bad.
I was going to make a joke that East Death Mountain looks like it could be the health cave, and it wasn't that far off, except he got the hook shot, so that's always some good progression.
Yep, that is definitely good progression. They can't make use of it in Hookshot Cave on the mountain, but they can now completely do Swamp. So I think Ctack is going straight to Swamp.
I'm gonna agree with you there.
And again, because the seed has gotten somewhat linear from how it looks, Swamp is likely to have progression. I would not be surprised personally if it had Titan Smith or some other fun thing.
I'm personally hoping for the bow.
Bow would be nice. And make it kind of easy though, because then you get bow and you're like, yeah, let's go to Pod. And this is just, rando by numbers. But yeah, bow definitely a good item in and of itself. Walther is setting up for the bomb jump here. I don't think that'll work. No, it's a little bit too far. The main thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you set, showing his disgruntlement. The main thing you want to do is you want to actually line up your Y coordinate first. So you want to get close to the south portion of the edge without obviously going over, leaving a little bit of a gap. And then if you go to your X coordinate, if you hit left, the game will actually create a barrier for you. You can tap left and you'll hit that barrier. Like right here, if you place the spawn piece, good. But it'll actually place that barrier for you, so you will not fall. And you can pretty much get every time. Like you can get the bomb jump extremely quickly. And the jump itself is not that precise. You just need to be somewhat to the left and not too far away from the south. Ctack finding the sword. So starting to see Skullwoods come back into play.
If it's a pendant, I don't know that he'll go back, because I'm pretty sure he's got everything.
This is true. If he finds the book, though, then maybe he might think it'll be a pass to see, because I think they've already done. They got, there's 2 pennants on the table already between Hera and Thieves, so I'll be kind of curious.
True, it's
like-
looking good for a pull.
Yep, it's like maybe Bo's on Pestle. So what is your favorite sprite to use?
Right now, since I am still super new, I play as OG Link, but otherwise, just for practicing, I gotta give it to Illusion of Gaia. How about yourself?
I play as a Zelda sprite, but I like to mix it up between the different Zeldas, like Dark Zelda and whatnot. And I like Unica a lot too, actually. Some of the other sprites are also really cute and fun. Like even Ganondorf, like it's such a well-made sprite, and so many good ones.
In the race last night, someone was joking around. They really wanted the Validation Arrow sprite. I was like, it's a meme, and
Yeah.
that means it'll be made.
Man, I remember back in the day when Rando was Rando, and the memes were pure. But I guess real quick here, Ctack was getting some hearts in Swamp. There is a glitch that I think there's a 25% chance or a 50% chance, I forget which, that if you hookshot a heart, you'll actually get 2 hearts instead of 1. So if you are hard pressed for health, you can hookshot, like you can lift up that heart and hookshot, and you potentially could have had 4 hearts right there instead of the 2. But kind of one of those little niche little tricks that could come in handy. And I guess just on the topic of tricks, if you are ever massive swords, so 2 swords in Swamp, it's definitely good. And but yeah, just real quick. Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say, I think the next time that we do commentary, I'm just gonna put the more you know star go across.
I'm sorry. It I want to fill a little bit of silence, and then obviously it's good for people to learn, and it's good to get Cancer Maria too.
No, I was being genuine about. I'm like, I didn't know that. I'm gonna start writing these things down. Because I will agree, you see a lot of the, like you said, play-by-play, and then you see, like, explaining, like, the water walking glitch, the bomb jumping, but nothing small, like grabbing hearts with the hookshot may net you double. About lag, about different things like that, you just don't hear about it often. It's good to know these things.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm having a moment, but did he flood the key? No, okay.
I was actually wondering that too.
I don't think he did, but I could be wrong. We got Walther. We're doing a spike check, so hopefully that'll have something else.
Yeah, that'd definitely be nice. Well, Ctack went and got the Samaria thing, so no, I'm pretty sure it didn't flood. I was just looking away for a moment with something, so.
Turns out Spike Cave just made him slightly richer. it looks like Walther might be making a play for Swamp, which there's a lot of good progression items, 2 swords and some Arya, so it's not a bad choice at this point for him.
Yeah, swords will definitely be handy. On their own, they don't actually open up too much. Still need Titans in order to make Samaria good for Mire or Troll Rock. Sword helps your skull and potentially medallion use. But yeah, still kind of looking for something like Titans, which very well might be in pot at this point.
I'm surprised we haven't seen any of the medallions now that you mention it.
Yeah, no medallions. Sword allows for use of them, but yeah.
Just looks like Ctack just has to run up to the boss here, and it should be an easy fight for him. And he's gonna be having to do the menu shuffle between Master Sword, the hook shot, and the hammer, so that he doesn't have to continually swing the Master Sword.
Yeah.
Can't really say I fault him for trying to go get hearts. With 3 hearts and facing this boss, it might be a close call.
It's pretty interesting. You don't see people use that restock room very often, but there's a lot of good stuff in there.
Yeah, of all the races, I don't think I've actually seen anybody use it. Maybe I'm just not watching actively enough, though.
It's definitely handy as a backup because you have the mini refill, the jellies before you get onto that floor, and then of course, if you still want more, there is that room. Arrows and bombs and a bunch of things are always handy. Even if you're missing magic, while you might not use magic on the boss, you still end up using time filling up the magic when you defeat a boss. So something, again, one of those Taylor frame savers is that if you have more magic, then the game's not actually filling that for you at the end of a boss. And Ctack has to be very careful here.
I was gonna wonder, why do you think he didn't use hammer? Is it faster if you've got a cluttered inventory, or why go with the Master Sword strats over hammer?
For the first phase, the menuing to hammer takes a long time, but if you mean for the second phase, a charge spin of Master Sword does the same damage as a hammer hit. But the hitbox of the charge spin is much larger, obviously, so there is the added safety element. And so Ctack played that to good use, is able to take out the boss quite convincingly.
I was going for the first phase, but I like both of them.
Yeah, just the menu time between hookshotting and hammering. If you only have fighter sword, then because fighter sword slashes do not hurt the little popcorn things hovering around Argus. 2 slashes to Master Sword does, or a single charge spin, or 1 temporary slash. But hookshot, switching to hookshot, switching hammer, hammering, switching to hookshot, hookshotting, switching a hammer, hammering, it actually does take up a lot of time. You can do it with a fire sword, because with a fire sword you need to do charge spins or that menuing, so it's kind of more preference at that point.
I didn't realize it was that much of a time loss. I've always thought, just go with the hammer. It's easier. Don't have to swing multiple times.
Yeah.
the green pendant was not worth it with just arrows.
Nope. Especially considering his already maxed. If he at least had room for them, you're like, oh, okay. But in this case, this is basically a null item.
But I can understand the checking it just in case, because you'll never know if that. You'll be at the end of the seed going, I just don't know if that was an item. It might have been important, though. He did find a key, so we are not bow locked for pod, which at this point is a good thing, because we don't have very much else to do that I can think of off the top of my head. Now he's gonna fall down. We can only hope that he doesn't trade a key for a key, which is kind of pointless. But you never know. That is exactly what he did. Traded a key for a key, but he can get the one down below, so hopefully that's not also a key.
Yeah.
And it turns out it is.
Yeah, pod tends to be front-loaded in keys. And hey, Jaxus, how are you?
Oh, hey guys. Wait, you guys doing active commentary? I'll bug out. I just didn't know what you guys were doing down here.
Yeah, just doing some commentary. But if you want to watch along, by all means.
Alright, I'll bug out and I'll let you guys do your thing. I'll watch.
Okay.
Oh, but Jaxus, Giselle might want someone who's competent to commentate here.
No, this is a fun casual thing. I mean, it's all for learning, right? It's all just to hang out, have some fun. If the prerequisite was only for people that are competent, I don't think anyone would have ever had a start.
Fair enough.
Yeah, pod tends to be very front-loaded in keys, so you'll kind of see some commentators kind of talk about how it's kind of like a mullet dungeon in that sense.
I wasn't gonna say it.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like it was fine the first few times, but just people kind of drill in their own memes, and that's one thing. Speaking in commentary, that is kind of a trap, is that you can have something that's funny, but if you abuse it, as a gimmick, then you really cheapen it, and it can, instead of being funny or wholesome, it's like eating the same meal for a week. It doesn't matter if it's a really good meal, you're gonna get tired of it.
I can 100% agree with that, because I am a hipster of memes. I like this meme better before everyone listened to it and used it.
Yeah, for sure. And the other thing too is that it actually stifles commentary or creativity, because now you're falling into this mold of always thinking something is X, or always thinking of a situation, rather than allowing it to be changed or to be different. And so you're actually stifling the potential for new fun things, or memes, or jokes, or whatever.
I can 100% agree with you on that one.
Oh, that's a really good bomb toss by Ctack.
Is Ice Cave gonna have the bow?
That'd be funny. Nope.
Of course it was a heart. I should have known.
Yeah, his bomb throw is really good. What's funny is that in the grass there is a chance of a soldier popping out of the grass. So by throwing the bomb further to the left, you didn't actually touch the grass at all. So there's no chance for a soldier to get in the way or harm him or slow him down. But then also, when you blow up an entrance, you don't want the bomb to be center. You want it to be as off to the side as you can so that you can actually enter the entrance quicker. So by him, that was a very strong bomb toss by achieving both aspects.
I never really thought about it off to the side. I've always just like, it's close enough. It's fine. I'm not worried about it. It's there.
Yeah, for sure. Again, just, more little frame savers, and over time they can add up. Like another little one is that when you're entering or exiting a stairwell from a transitional screen, not just going up automatic stairs, but like where Walther is going here, going down into the first chest area of pod here. If you hold left or right coming out, you'll actually enter the room quicker. When you get to the bottom of the stairs, if you hold down or up, there is something called stair lag, and it'll actually stop you for I don't remember the frame count. It's like 7 or to 15, something like that. But it does not happen if you tap right or left. So the ideal way to exit the stairway is to tap or partially hold left or right and then resume going down. It's actually quicker to go that left, go left or right a few pixels and then start heading down than it is to hold straight down.
Huh. Like you said, it's those micro actions. Those 10 frames saved here, 10 frames sent here. Eventually you're saving
Like
whole
right here,
seconds.
Walther. You'll kind of see him. If he doesn't do it, you'll see how he kind of got like stuck there for a little second.
Mm-hmm.
If you hold left or right, that won't happen.
Where is Ctack going? Didn't he check the shovel?
Apparently not. Did he check the mirror cave? I don't remember if he checked the mirror cave.
I don't think he did.
Oh, okay. Even though he doesn't have the Titans, so it'd take a little while to go to the Dark World to pair the two together. Well, he could have gone Cephaling's house and then try to pair the two together, but that's one of those little things, right, where you end up, even though he has the mirror, you're making a trip to go check the shovel. The time spent to check the shovel didn't matter because Walther also checked it, but the implementation is where the time loss starts to kick in. And then it looks like he's going to the Dark World anyway, so it's the kind of thing where he might have been able to pair it, who knows. Although I think he might be going to Skullwoods, so it's a different direction. So again, it's all part routing, part of how a person approaches it. Sometimes there is no, easy or perfect answer either. You can only be, so perfect before, the game itself just presents an awkward situation.
I can understand that. This is a good time to do a pedestal check, just to double check to make sure, hey, I don't have to go to complete extra dungeons, do I? There is one more item in Skullwoods. I was miscounting this entire time.
That's no problem. So, had Ctack finished Thieves Town, right?
Yes, I believe he did.
It's funny because no, he only has one pennant. He hasn't actually. Huh. I was gonna say because if he did Skullwoods here, he could have mirrored and just done a blind pull. don't think he has 2 pennants. I looked and I only saw the green. Yeah, no, he doesn't.
Yep, only just the one.
Oh, that's really interesting. Yeah, because he got the mirror and he pretty much went like straight to the mountain, which is definitely a good idea, but just kind of a interesting divergence here. I think Walther might actually go into Skullwoods, so he will have the option of blind pulling, and that might be what he's thinking. Maybe like Titans or something on the pedestal.
That will be, as much as I don't want to say it, that will be a hype pedestal right there.
It's okay. Again, it's the idea where, you know, you can, yeah. Pedestal can be fun. I actually like pedestal seeds in Kisani. I think it's ideal because it eliminates a lot of potential late game gambles. A lot of matches can be won or lost simply by one person going to Mire and the other person going into Rock, right? One dungeon is correct and you only need one item, and up until then both players are pretty even. It's kind of a crappy feeling to lose the race based on that. But with the pedestal seed, you mitigate the fact that you don't have to make those decisions. Now it's just proper routing and execution. So personally, I really like pedestal seeds in Kisani. Otherwise, there's a large chance that the seed could be very trolly. And Sarah Open, definitely not as welcome. I wouldn't say it's unwelcome, but different way of thinking.
Yeah, and with that death, it looks like Ctack and Walther are going to be going up against Moth within seconds of each other.
Yeah, that'd be pretty close to each other. Moth is a very tricky fight. It's nice that they have Master Sword now, but it's still very, very ruthless.
Easily least favorite boss of the entire game.
Uncle did say at the very beginning to watch the Moth tutorial. To be fair, Uncle was like, Moth is annoying. Check out the Moth tutorial. Yeah, Walther taking him out. Getting the big key, so... little trolly. They hold the pennant, so you can blind pull, and then possibly check last item. Again, assuming there's still one more, which I think you said there was, but either way, like there's the blind pull and then potentially the item. And Ctack has to be so careful. Ooh. He doesn't have the blue mail like Walther does either. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like they're thinking pestle, not even just the items. Because there's still the one that he left. It's an arrow upgrade.
Yeah, arrows on the pedestal. That's trolly right there.
You hate to see this kind of thing happen. Yeah, Ctack saying, I don't think so. Gonna buy some potions.
Is he going back though?
He might be going back. If I was him, I wouldn't. It's kind of, for him, it's kind of become like his white, it might become like his white whale kind of thing. Like he just wants to get out of the way. I mean, because he got a weapon from Swamp, and he got the fire rod, so it's probably in your mind like, oh, there's gotta be something. Because I don't know, like he didn't get a chest in Skull, so I want to think that they have both items. But yeah, it's definitely strange.
I think you're right. The big chest might have been the map. I don't have the tracker up, so I don't know.
I really like how he used the Dark World portal, or the mirror spot. It was really smart of him. So he actually got back really quickly.
Ctack's got to conserve that magic. It might be a little rough without any fire rod. Come on, Ctack. You got only a couple more hits, and he'll be good to go. Oh, he's got potion. Never mind.
Yeah, he bought 2, but still, like, yeah, he's definitely got this in the bag. The fire rod, it takes 8 fire rod shots to kill Moth. Same number of slashes as a massive sword. If you do a charge spin, it'll be like a temper, which is only 4, but either way. Got Moth, got his big key, got his pendant. So I'll just see where he goes from here. But yeah, Seaton's really dried up in a lot of ways. Don't think they've checked Agina. Trying to think of where else they haven't gone.
I think Agna Walther's checked, I believe.
Oh, did they? Oh, pardon me.
I think. Next time I'm getting a tracker up for this.
No problem. Yeah, yeah. It's the first time. You know, this is, again, just a big learning experience. Kind of get a feel for things. You know, Walther getting his heart container, he's probably thinking, "What is this seed? Did Jaxus make this?" Apparently.
I don't know who made this seed.
I only make that joke because it was mentioned a little bit earlier, teasingly. Obviously, a strong affection for Jaxus as a friend. But apparently he's been generating some bad seeds lately. I cannot confirm or deny.
I seen last night's race. Yes. There might have been a Turtle Rock gamble.
Yeah, Walther's even just looking at the map. He's like trying to figure out maybe what's left. I'm trying to think of what we haven't done. Oh, did they never check the floating island?
I think they've passed by it, but I don't think they've done
it's
it.
many. Yeah, just many. It's not there either. I'm trying to think. Check the magic bat.
You've always got desert. Oh, maybe might be boots locked, but you can check it. Nope, never mind. No Titans.
Yeah, no Titans, no book. And, they really ran out of places. I'm trying to think of where they can go. Actually, like
Mirror Ledge near the forest.
Oh, they checked. Oh, did they never check the Mirror Cave?
I don't think they did.
I think that's the only location left. That's the only one I can think of right now. Yeah, this is difficult. Because they checked all of Death Mountain. Like they've literally done everything they can do to my recollection. I can literally only think Agina, but apparently it's been checked. And then that one mirror cave.
There's one more if I'm remembering correctly.
What's that?
The dark room in Escape.
But they did escape with in the standard mode, right?
Not that route. I I don't know. Yeah, they would have had to, right?
Yeah, I think they had to. I think Walther remembered, and he's gonna go check that mirror cave. So again, this is the kind of thing where if Ctack had gone to the Dark World from the south in Link's house and then gone over, he could have checked this and the shovel, and it looks like this is gonna be something. Yeah, he hasn't checked it yet. This has to be something. Otherwise, I think the seed is borked. Unless I cannot think of something else.
It's
And
the
there's a
bow.
So yeah, really unfortunate for Ctack. Had he paired those two together, but
It looks like
yeah,
Ctack
gained
still
some time
thinks.
with Walther.
It looks like Ctack still thinks it's a pedestal seed.
Yeah, he hasn't done thieves, so there's a lot of items here, but he'll get the pendant and they may think, maybe it is a pedestal seed after all, and he'll go pull it. But yeah, Walther now on his way to progressions. It's very good.
Personally, Cane of Samaria is my favorite way of taking out blind.
Yeah, it's definitely a fun one. I don't know if I have a favorite method. Hammer is annoying. I'd rather not do hammer if I don't have to.
For me, like, the cane is like set it and forget it, and just set it, start dodging and doing the dance, and you're good to go. You get 2, maybe 3 hits out of each cast.
Yeah. Sorry, I'll be right back.
See if Ctack goes in for the pedestal or decides to scrap it and go somewhere else. He is aiming for his bundle of arrows. So I'm thinking we're going to get at least one like rage slash. And Walther is just mopping up pot at this point.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that.
So, Gravy?
This is Ctack is he's bombing the pedestal. He's probably gonna want to bomb it more after too.
I thought he was going to do the rage slashes, and he just still might.
No, just the master bomb, the bomb of legend now replaces the arrow upgrade. It's like a Indiana Jones swapping the bag of sand for the idol.
There you go. I like that.
So, did we get anything else in pod?
Nope. Walther just ran straight up. He's just mopping it out and finishing it up.
Fair enough. Yeah, and even Ctack checking the island too, and it's probably like, hopefully didn't forget about the cave.
I'm hoping he didn't, because he came to town, so maybe he'll be going there.
Yeah, as the old adage goes, I think Link, he come to town, he come to save the Princess Zelda.
I'm sorry?
It's a reference, I think, to like not an E-bomb world, but like a Newgrounds thing, I think. But don't worry about it.
E-Bomb's World. Now that's a name I've not heard in, good lord, almost a decade.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's gone to it in probably a decade either. But yeah, oh man, back just young internet.
Newgrounds, where animators went, and E-Bomb's World was where memes were created. Or stolen.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because I never really went onto Newgrounds. I mostly went to E-bombs at in high school just because I was bored and didn't really know much anywhere else to go. It's internet. Like, what's good?
Low 10 years before Zelda Randomized, right?
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that site is dead now too, right?
I don't know, but I can tell you what I'm going to be doing after this race and finding out.
I'll walk through memory lane. Oh, poor Jax's just noticed in chat.
I just seen that as well.
So yeah, again, sorry, I wasn't paying the most attention. I don't know if we found anything in pod, but
We did.
Indeed, kind of like what I was mentioning earlier. Oh, we did? What did we find?
Helmasaur King had tempered.
Ooh, not really progression though, unfortunately, but still good to have. Without silvers, makes Ganon a little bit less daunting. But indeed, it's looking like Eastern might actually have our answer. So, in a way, this seed has become very like weirdly linear.
Linear's not always bad, though.
Nope, certainly not. That's one thing I really like about Kisani. Actually, it's comforting in that regard. But it's Strawberries too. And Ctack just dropping blueberries all over Hyrule. Meme comments always get read on stream. Commentary is bad.
I've
Container. Oh, sorry.
It's all good. I would say I've unfortunately seen those comments before, like, "Oh, memes, the commentary is bad." I'm like, no, it's just different than what you like, and that's fine.
Yeah. So, I don't know if we got any other progression, but I was gonna ask if, or I was gonna kind of postulate if they found the red crystals, but that was not the case. But I guess you got Titans, so progression. So the Titans that opens Ice Palace, that opens Mire and Desert, that opens up the rest of the mountain. So they do have everything for Turok sans the medallion, and we don't even know the medallions from Mire, and we won't know even more because I did not catch it on the stream.
Neither did I. Now, is Turtle? I feel like I've seen Turtle and Mire are the same pendant like all the time. Is that correct?
Confirmation bias says yes, that is correct. But to actually answer your question, no, it is randomized every time, but there is certainly a strong chance of it being the same medallion. The vanilla medallion for Mire is Ether, and for Turok it's Quake. In this case, Quake is for Mire, but when and there's the entrance right there. When progression is placed really late, there's a good chance that the other dungeon might be the same too. So it would not be surprising if Turok was Quake. Yeah, there is the ticket to Mire right there, and they can completely clear it.
Statistically, we had to find that there.
There's not... Yeah, there was Desert, and that's it, pretty much. Well, Ice Palace too, but it's definitely nice to find Quake.
I find that Myra is either really easy or just annoyingly long to do.
Yeah, it can kind of depend on a couple of things. For the most part, the route is kind of straightforward, but there is a lot of RNG. And this first, this room here is called Meyer 2 as a nickname. And depending on how many cycles you take, it can forcibly make the room longer. And then, of course, the same goes for a lot of other rooms. It's little tiny things, but it's the sort of thing that a player might not think of, but they might feel it.
Yeah, I can get that.
See some wholesome reflection in stream chat here.
Mostly between Doug and Jaxus, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just Doug going on. The Jaxus, wholesome Jaxus memes. But hey, boots. Those are a nice item to have.
Would have been nicer earlier, but yes.
Yeah, what's kind of funny is that the speed you get from the boots isn't necessarily the most important thing, but they do open up a lot of other tricks, which adds to the time save. But just real quick too, a lot of people kind of get confused on when and when not to do dashes. The rule of thumb is that if you are going to a spot that is 4.5 tiles or more away, then dashing will be quicker. But if it is less than 4.5 tiles, it is faster to walk. And even then, if you are dashing like in concordance with pumping, if you are going even 5 tile, like 4.5 tiles north or to the west, it's probably still better to walk if you can pump. But that's we're talking like minute time save.
Okay, so let's pretend I don't know what pumping is. Can you explain that to me?
Yeah, so buckle up. It's when Link, his animation when he is going to the north or to the west, his animation, the pixel amount that he moves oscillates at 2 pixels, 1 pixel, 2 pixel, 1 pixel, 2 pixel, 1 pixel. So every frame of animation you're moving, when you start moving to the north or you start moving west, you are moving 2 pixels. When you are going south or to the east, it oscillates on a cycle of 1, then 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 pixels. So the idea behind pumping is that you are tapping diagonals into your movement to reset Link's movement animation to get it to, instead of being 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, to be 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. It's not humanly possible to do perfect pumping, but we're talking, pixel saves, which can end up leading to frame saves. So it's a very small thing, but to give you an idea, using the technique can actually save 3 seconds on the an Eastern Palace, outside Eastern Palace, that one big overworld map screen. If you do pumping on that screen in the speed gen, you actually saves 3 seconds. So over the course of a long run, you're talking, seconds, potentially up to a minute, but not more than that, really. So it's the kind of thing where if you are speedrunning, it can become worth it to do. And conversely, if you do extra inputs when going south or to the east, you might do something called an anti-pump. Because it oscillates starting at a 1, a 2, a 1, a 2, a 1, and 2 cycle. Instead of going 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, it's 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So when you are moving, when you're moving south or to the east, you want to do as few movements as possible. You want to do, if you're going diagonally, you want to hold that diagonal. You don't want to adjust your movement more than you have to. Because again, there's a chance you might accidentally anti-pump, which will make you go slower.
Thank goodness we were pretending I didn't understand. I didn't understand.
But The main actual good times to use it though are on stairs. There's a lot of different types of pumping. You can do it on stairs, so it's stair pumping. You can do it in the open atmosphere, like where there's no walls, or against the wall. If you do it against the wall, it's wall pumping. So you have stair pumping, wall pumping, air pumping, water pumping, fire pumping, earth pumping, metal pumping. You know, it's a lot of different pumping. But the long and short of it is that you basically just want to try and add diagonals to your movement in certain situations, mainly stairs, the non-automatic ones.
Got it.
Also, the fire and earth pumping, ML pumping was a joke. It's an Avatar reference.
I was just going to wonder, is the task bot then the avatar if it's a master of all the pumping?
Jax is saying in chat, I'm sorry, stream chat saying it's elementary, which is true. You have all the elements. Not the periodic ones, but you know. Earth, wind, fire, blah blah blah.
Got it.
But yeah, like these stairs that Ctack is on. You just want to hold up, and then you can also try and hit left or right while you go up, or you can just hold up and then kind of like mash with your other hand on the D-pad or whichever peripheral you have to try and just add a little bit to it. On the overall, for new players especially, it's not something to really worry about. The main thing is clean movement. You want to move cleanly. But on stairs, it's you know, it's kind of a simpler thing to do. You don't have to worry about, you know, being sloppy. You just want to make sure you're at least going forward, and then if you're able to add a few extra, it certainly doesn't hurt.
Go for technique, then learn style. This is what. Go for technique, then go for style. And it looks like we've got the stream chat thanking you for the explanation, and I will thank you as well. I did not understand it.
Well, I'm very, very humbled, very appreciative. Like everyone, you know, learns. I didn't know that. I learned, you know, and just pass on as best I can. That's kind of, again, I kind of mentioned it. I wish rando commentary more often featured that kind of thing. I feel people are kind of information starved. Again, people aren't stupid. They can see the match going on, and so there's some play-by-play things that you want to do, but you know, commentaries are to lead a person on a journey, and I feel to instruct, and it's something that comes with time, you know, but it's always good to have. And yeah, I mean, look at all the sport they're finding too, butter in the book. And
I was about to say, it looks like Hookshot Cave was the right answer.
yeah, there's definitely a lot there.
Now, if only we could get an updated hovering technique.
Update as in a different technique, or do you mean something else?
The last video I seen, it looked like it might have been 5 years old.
Yeah, unfortunately, hovering is the kind of thing where you need to see a person do it, I think, in person. The best you can do is kind of hear them doing the technique, because that'll kind of teach you the rhythm, but really, it's the hard part of hovering is really just having the person's internal rhythm and consistency. It's the kind of thing where you need to establish new synapses in your brain over a period of time in order to be able to maintain that type of rhythm. It's not that the technique itself is difficult, it's maintaining the technique. So like, even for myself, I still am inconsistent somewhat. Now, part of that is emulator, but part of it isn't emulator too.
So what I'm hearing is Andy might be a robot.
Andy has definitely, like, when Andy started, he actually wasn't known for being consistent with hovers. A lot of people can hover, but not everyone is consistent with it. Hovering wasn't actually ever Andy's thing until later. But Andy's just a strong player, and so the more you play, you know, the more you get better and whatnot. And through just playing so much, he's just built those synapses. He's built that muscle memory. So he's become very consistent, and of course, much to the adoration of many doing the trick, and the ire of you, jokingly. It's
I know
definitely a
what you're
very strong
referencing.
skill. It's definitely a very admirable and strong skill in terms of the game. It's a little bit overrated in terms of its application. It does have niche use, but in terms of Roundo, the grand scheme of it, it's not the most pertinent thing to do. It can actually be a hindrance depending on how you apply it. For example, in Pod, in Palace of Darkness, if you sequence break using hovering, that can really screw up your sense of progression. I would especially say in Kisani, but yeah, you just have to have a really strong mind for the logic to make it not burn you. And again, in Kisani, it's pretty much impossible to perfectly follow the logic. So if you do get those keys, it can actually really send you on a wild goose chase.
That would be interesting to watch. Not fun for the runners, but for everybody else might be interesting.
Yeah, in my tournament match with Wolfie, TGH, and Pika Palace, TGH actually hovered to that chest, which helped him. But I think there was a race with Andy. I don't remember which one, but he hovered and it actually hurt him. So it's. I wish I remember what it was so I could maybe direct people there for even just for a simple entertainment value if people are bored. But
Ctack burned his portal, so he had to fly back to redo it all.
it's so unfortunate that it's really easy to do too. Yeah, just in case people aren't aware, in order to hover, the game does not check whether Link is on a steel surface the first frame when you are dashing with the boots. So, in theory, you can hold the boot dash charge for 1 frame, release for a frame, and on that release frame, you can input a directional frame. And like it doesn't check, like the boots kind of ignore pits, and then it takes more than 1 frame for the game to go, oh, Link's not over a pit, he should fall, or he's over a pit, he should fall. So during that 1 frame you can move, and then you could hit the button again. So in theory you could hold the button for a frame, let go for a frame, hold the button for a frame, let go for a frame. But we're talking 60 button presses in a single second. That's not possible for a human. So different techniques get used in order to try and mimic that as close as possible. You could, in theory, hold the button for 29 frames, release for 1, and then hold for another 29. But trying to get a button press and release within 1 frame is also incredibly difficult.
True. Is Walther actually possible to just go mode this dungeon?
I'm trying to think of what they're missing. He'll need the big key, so he needs to check the dungeon until he gets that.
I think
it's
he
hard to say
can.
about Tracker, but he might be able to. It's a very good point. He might be in go mode right now.
He's got fire, ice, Samaria. I think he's in go mode.
And there's the big key, so we'll find out here, depending on how he behaves. Oh, and I guess just to kind of cap out thoughts on the boots, when you're moving, so because you're oscillating at 212121 or 12112 pixels a frame, you're effectively moving at 1.5 pixels a frame normally. In grass and whatnot, it becomes 1 pixel. When you're dashing with boots, it's actually 4 pixels, so it's a little bit over double speed. But in order to charge out the boots, it's actually 30 frames. So the start time to charge the boots is 30 frames. So that's kind of why, if the distance is less than 4.5 tiles, it may not be prudent to dash. You might just want to walk it, because you're spending half a second charging. So in that half a second, you're already gaining distance by walking. And I guess, just by extension, if you're doing the hook shot, you are moving at 2 pixels a frame.
Is there math sheets for all of this?
There is a lot of information in a lot of places. This game has so many little things that there's no one single source of it. But if you want resources, I can certainly try and find some after.
Because I know there's a bunch of randomizer on their Discord. Is that correct? Like a bunch of information on randomizer setup and everything. Correct?
Yeah, there's a lot in the Rando community in terms of information. My recommendation for anyone that wants to learn this stuff or get better at Rando is they should learn the speedrun, because most Rando players don't know any of this. During the spring tournament, I tried to share as much information as I could, but more people are learning, but there's still a lot of people that don't know a lot of this stuff. And so, and it is the kind of thing that you would learn in a speedrun, by learning the speedrun rather.
I can say I've learned a lot just by doing this and just like watching just watching runs and going, oh, that's cool. Like you see the same kind of plays over 4 or 5 different races. You may get an explanation for a couple different tricks and things like that. So just being in the videos actually is a lot of things to learn, and then just going out and playing and going, well, I didn't finish the seed, but I learned something.
Yeah, absolutely. The way I started was I watched a lot of tournament footage, just rando players and whatnot, and then I watched a tutorial for the speedrun, and I used that to familiarize myself with the game. I didn't learn all the little tricks, but it was enough to teach me some basic stuff from the speedrun, and then that gave me a groundwork, and then I started playing Rando, and that let me get a sense of what to do, where to go, kind of layout of the world, watch more footage. And that's just like anything. Like if you're playing fighting games or playing sports or whichever, you play, you watch, you practice, you play, you watch, you practice, you play, you watch, you practice. It becomes a cycle building on itself. A lot of players will just play and then they'll have fun playing, but they won't actually be growing much. They might learn some better routing, which is good, but they might not be realizing just how much time they lose in other situations. Again, it's like, a person playing football and then watching them play football. And they're like, oh, my form could use improvement, or, why did I make that play there? Kind of an idea.
Yes, sports.
Yeah, I know nothing about sports. I just know they watch their own footage. I was just using it as a more common kind of reference. For me, it's fighting games.
I've never played sports, so I'm like, sports. Yep, okay.
Yeah, so while they're taking out Tronex.
And if I'm not mistaken, he's going right to Ganon's tower.
Yeah, I think. Do you do ice? I kind of glossed over for a little bit there.
So he is going to Ice Palace.
Yeah, okay. So he still has ice, but yeah, kind of interesting that he went to Death Mountain first. I might not have been paying attention to something. But he did go mode the dungeon, so you'll get to do ice here. And then, yeah, then it'll be Ganon Tower. Jax is already calling about Bob's chest in the chat. Your answer will remain invalid until the time in which it becomes valid. That is when we are entering GT.
Forgive me, Chad, for I have sinned. I have led thou astray.
I have this weird habit where I'll hold the shift button and I'll type, but I'll hold it for like 2 letters. Like I'll just barely hold it too long.
I do that all the time.
Yeah, and then the worst is when I'm typing 2-letter words, like especially so. So it'll sound like I'm saying so, and then whichever, like there's emphasis to it. And I'm like, no, I'm really chill. I'm not trying to emphasize. So I'll have to either edit or correct it. But after a while, I kind of hope that people just know, and then I can be lazy about it.
I do a mostly clerical job, so I can completely understand that randomly shouting at people. Now this
Yeah.
is the bomb jump that it defines bomb jumping.
It's definitely a good bomb jump to have. Again, it's the kind of thing that you learn in the speedrun, and it has strong application around it. It's another thing that kind of takes a lot to explain, but if you hold left coming out of the doorway, you'll actually be 1 pixel away from the wall. But if you fall and you hold left, you'll actually be flush against the wall while holding left. So sometimes players will hold left, and then they'll place their bomb, and then they'll adjust from there. But then if they fall, they'll hold left again and not realize that their position is completely different.
Wait, I think I might be able to explain this. I think. So if they go left, they have to leave 3 pixels on the second from the top sawtooth. Then you drop your bomb, go down, leave 1 pixel between the shadow and the edge of your blade, and you should be lined up. Is that correct?
I don't actually go off of that visual cue. It sounds correct. There's actually a lot of different ways to do the bomb jump. There's 2 ways to do it. There's the way that a lot of people learn, which is being flush against the wall, placing the bomb, and then having your sword out and having that 1 gap. But when it explodes you, it'll actually the position that it'll send you is not that there's 2 when you do the bomb jump, there's 2 positions that link will get sent. So the ideal way to get shot is that you're actually 1 pixel away from the wall, and then your sword would be flush with the shadow. If you are proximate to the edge enough, it's really hard to describe in words. But long story short is that there are different ways to actually set up the lineup, and some of them are a little bit easier, some of them are a little bit harder, and some are a little bit easier and faster, and some are a little bit easier and slower. It's kind of, again, there's the right way to do it is the way that works, but there actually is a more optimal way to do it in a few different ways it's set up. But the way you mentioned is the way I think I learned. Again, I used a different visual cue, but the same premise, having the 1 gap between the sword and the shadow.
As long as it works, it doesn't matter how you figure it out, even if it includes a Ouija board.
I wouldn't go that far. But yeah, no, as long as you can get it, that's important. And then little optimizations, improvements, they come later. Yeah, so now that Ice Pass is done, chat, it's that time. If you would like to guess which chest the big key will be in, by all means, enter it now. You will win absolutely nothing. But it's still a fun game. A Luigi board.
What was in library? Oh, the silvers!
The aggro, it's definitely good to have.
I can only hope that Ctack remembers them.
In honor of Miyagi, I am going to guess 6, because 6 never wins.
I always bet 15.
Yeah, Ctack making it across, and we'll finish out this dungeon, but I still think he has to go through Turtle Rock.
I want to say he's done with Turtle Rock. thought he went through.
See, I'm sorry. When I talk about things, sometimes like my eyes kind of gloss over, and then I forget who's done what sometimes.
I'm right there with you. I'm like, I think he did it. I don't know. Am I thinking of WaltherIV's stream? I don't know.
Little trick, you can actually hookshot that little post to the left of the stairwell, and you'll actually clip into the stairwell. So if you don't have boots, or if you're trying to find the lineup and you have the hookshot, you can do that to quickly hook into the stairwell.
Yeah, he does need to do Turtle Rock.
Yeah, okay. I just saw the menu there.
That's what I was looking at. I was like, okay, open up that menu. Do it right now.
Yeah, so Walther going right. I'm a fan of going all right, or Dark Magician, as it's known. It looks like he's gonna go at the very least halfway right.
I'd like to say Ctack's Cold Stare fight was really clean.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Like, there's always a quote-unquote optimal or maybe preferred way to do it. Something. I'm a fan of people doing what works for them, what's fun for them, and what's clean for them. The reason why it's called Dark Magician is there's a player by the name of Dark Magician, and that was just a strategy that he liked to do. A lot of rando memes and things kind of started just simply by the player doing it or being known for doing it. So that was just a shorthand way of saying it. Like, there's a lot of things like that where it's not even necessarily that they were the biggest person to do it, but they just kind of get their name attached to it.
They have the bigger fan base.
Yeah, there can be a little bit of that. And kind of, it's something that's a little bit irksome, that you'll see a lot of new players in Rando, and they'll kind of credit the wrong player with something. And so in terms of like a purity kind of sense, it can be a little annoying, because it's like, man, you guys don't even, like Brahma Meat came up with a Block Blast, but then there's a Christos Owen version Block Blast, but then people might think, oh, like, he came up with that, right? And what have you. So this is kind of like, it's one of those things where it's like, the lore must be maintained here. Yeah, Walther and Bob Chest here.
He went to Invisible Floor Room, a different route than I have ever seen.
And you went full right? Full right
Yes.
is actually the quickest way to get to Bob's Chest in Armos. The left, when you so a lot of people might go left and then go, or they might go the first two on right and then go full left, and some people might do Dark Magician and then go full right. If you go Dark Magician and full right, it's a little bit quicker than going full left, but you're gambling 6 chests.
Fair, and he did get half magic, so it's a good gamble there.
Yeah, I think in terms of pure optimal scenario, I think the best thing to do is probably to go left until halfway and then, or right until halfway and then go full left, as much as I don't want to admit it. Because when people go into GT, chances are they're going to check the beginning of left and or the beginning of right, or, you know, whichever order. So getting these early checks are important. And then after, it becomes kind of a gamble between, you know, the meat of left, the meat of right, and then Bob Armos. So you're kind of just gambling between, is it left or right? And in the case of right, you actually get to Armos quicker, but you do get like 2 more chests if you go left. Like it's kind of hard to say, but my theory is you either want to go left and then if you find a key, go right and then go full left because most people do that, or you kind of want to do Dark Magician and do the reverse.
Fair point.
In the end, it's pretty much all RNG, but if we're talking a statistic, that's probably the best thing to do. The best thing to do is to do what your opponent would do. Or if you feel behind, to do what you don't think they would do in order to try and get time.
Sometimes all it comes down to is one small gamble.
Yep, it's the nature of Rando. I really wanted to have my own GT route and have it called like the Dark Magician Girl route, but I couldn't really think of what I'd want that to be, and I wasn't even sure if I'd use it anyway.
It would it end up being like, oh, it's something that's been popularized. It's not really convenient.
It's kind of like where you go right, but you don't get a key, and then you go left into that first ring and get a key, and then you go back right, and something like that. Because sometimes that does work out. People will go to the right, get no key, and then they'll go into the skeleton room on the left, and then they'll get a key, and then you can mirror and go to the right, and then do full right. No, there's no real meaning to it. It's just named after a player. Which I can understand. It's kind of like, well, that's lame. I think Willard stopped calling it Dark Magician and just started calling it Stupid Route.
Throwing some major shade there then, huh?
I mean, I think they're all friends.
That's one thing I've noticed. Like everybody in the rando community is kind of they're friends. They race together. They develop routes. They compete, but it's friendly competition.
Yeah, my theory is that when it comes to the game, you're not really you're playing the game, not necessarily like you're playing against the player in terms of the race, but you're not directly competing against the player. So there's naturally less aggression going towards another person. You think fighting games, you're competing with another person, so you might be like, wow, I can't believe they did that. Like, are they like trying to insult me with their play, or something like that? And then you think it's something like League of Legends, where not only do you have a team of other people, but then you're competing against another team of other people. So a lot more people to get aggressive about, a lot more people to maybe feel indignant about insulting your intelligence or something. So I think speedrunning naturally will have more of a friendly, passive environment because it's pretty much you in the game, not no one else. And so yeah, it's been nice with the rando community in that regard.
And that's something I'm coming to appreciate more, coming from like even things like reading Reddit. It's like, ooh, even a new game, it's got terrible, just salty people, and it's like then I go to Randomizer, the Discord, I'm like, huh, people actually do enjoy talking to each other in civil attitudes. Who would have thought it?
Yeah, there's still a dark underside and some drama, but it's much more minute, and people are just more about really enjoying the game, which is really nice. And yeah, it's most people play this game as a kid, and so it's not a new game. So in a lot of ways, you tend to also have an older fan base. So the maturity level might also be naturally higher because you think for the younger generation, this game wouldn't have been as prevalent as a newer game.
I like that theory a lot.
No, the big question: will Walther check the legendary validation chest?
Absolutely not.
Disclaimer: runner will not actually be invalidated. Oh, he did.
That
He's
is
a
surprising.
It's only a few frames. I pretty much always do it. I think he's Sunny. It's kind of like more up in the air, but that's a chest I pretty much always just check. I don't care about the meme, but I like to do it for the fans and for myself. Like, oh, okay, that's just an inval chest, you know. And then there is the off chance where it actually might be useful.
True, but with silvers, it's like, I would be tempted to pass it up, especially if I thought I was even slightly behind. I'm like, oh, I've already got silvers, I've already got tempered.
Yeah, because like even if he got butter only helps if you don't know how to do the fight optimally. And it's not like the optimal fight is that difficult, but it does require a little bit of practice. So for some people, the butter actually would be quicker for them. On paper, it's not, but for them, it might be quicker. Instead of having to do 12 hits per cycle, you only need to do 6. It can definitely be a nice comfort, or possibly a mail upgrade, or what have you.
Fair. I also say this: I've actually never actually raced anyone in this game.
It can be really intimidating. I was terrified of doing a race, and that's why I learned the speedrun first, because I wanted to get more familiar. I watched a ton of matches and just terribly shy, and just put a lot of pressure on myself. But it's really fun. Definitely make sure to give it a go if that's what you're into. It can seem really intimidating, but really the best thing to do is just to play and it'll get better. And there'll be those matches where it's like, I didn't know you had to bonk to that one chest in Hookshot Cave. And it can be really aggravating, but it's through a harsh learning curve that people tend to grow into the game and the mode.
I can understand that. I'd even say, like, do something like this and just commentate a race of somebody else who knows what they're doing. And I've learned so much just commentating this. This is my first commentary route, and I've learned a lot, and it's fun to watch.
Yeah, definitely. A friend in chat here, Jagger, he's done commentary, but he doesn't really play. He uses SWAT so much, so he's gained a wealth of knowledge just from studying the game, and that's completely valid for a lot of players. There's a certain appreciation that could come from actually playing the game and knowing it, but when you look at rando commentators, like 90% of them, there wouldn't be any difference there, really. It would kind of come down to more speedrunners of the game that tend to know more of the ins and outs of it. So watching the game, like you'll get the large bulk of everything.
And it looks like Walther has won at 2 hours and 6 minutes and 4 milliseconds. But hey, who counts that?
Yeah, have an official Twitch time as opposed to the unofficial other times. Yeah, no, GG's to him. And it's a kind of a peculiar scene.
It was linear, then it wasn't, then it was, and then it wasn't, and then it was again.
It's the seed that wasn't linear until it was. Yeah, like it had some linearity, and then there was kind of created linearity. Just a bottleneck at the mirror ledge. But yeah, Ctack not too far behind here. Looks like he's not going to go full right, so he will save a little bit of time here.
That'll be good for him now that we know where everything is.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's kind of what I mean, right? Like, a Sunset Dark Magician, these 4 would get checked, and then a person might go right, and they're going to check the other 2 anyway. But for Ctack, he went to the right, checked those 2, and now he's going this way. So these early chests, these first 6, I think no matter what route you take, you want to check both, ideally. And then you're kind of gambling, okay, do I go for the rest of the 6 chests in the left side, or do I go for the 4 on the right? But the 4, the right path is quicker to Bob and Armos. So in the end, it works out pretty equal, but most players tend to go to the left. So in terms of competing, you would want to play 2 other players. So you'd probably want to go to the left route. And that's the only reason why I say I think it would technically be better. That, and there might be like some small statistic kind of a thing too, but just in terms of the metagame.
That makes sense right there.
Jax is asking if I'm going to run one. My plan was to work on NMG stuff, kind of often in the off stream. I'd definitely like be willing to hang out in a voice chat and just hang out with people, but I need to kind of focus on some things. I do want to do some races pretty soon here though, because I need the practice for the tournament too. I don't know. I'll play it by ear. You guys might peer pressure me in, but there's some important things that I need to take care of.
After this, I am going to crash myself.
So I don't know if Walther wants to come into voice chat here to kind of, you know, interview. Ctack's not too far behind. Maybe they'll come in together.
Yeah.
I just sent him a message real quick. It's not Walther, but it'll do. Congratulations, GG. Jaxus, on your first quiz victory. How do you feel?
I just, Dory, I'm on top of the world. I'm ready for the tournament. I'm going there. I'm gonna kick some butt, take some names, and oh wait, I think this joke died on impact. So anyway,
I was going to ask, how do you respond to the allegations that your seed making sucks?
Ooh,
I have only one thing to say to that.
It's true?
Meme item placement always wins. Seed is bad.
And with that, we have the actual first place winner, GG Walther.
Yeah, thanks. I kind of forgot K45 there for a while.
Yeah, it's the seed was kind of the impression that that we got was that the seed was not really linear until it became linear, and then not linear, and then linear again. kind of an idea.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's Ctack kind of had a similar issue. Yeah, he had the chance to kind of pair in the cave when he went to go check the shovel item, but I think it, you know, it's the kind of thing that it's easy to forget about, especially, you know, in standard or open, where, you know, the item locations kind of turn into Swiss cheese for where you check, and, you know, just that one location to stuck out. But you both pulled a pestle.
Yeah. I did it in the earlier standard race today as well, so I got one bomb booster and one arrow booster.
Yeah, it's really fun for me to see all the bomb upgrades at the very beginning of the seed. I was like see those personally, but yeah, no, it's definitely a fun race to watch.
The bomb upgrades and the heart pieces. So much health so early.
Yeah, I didn't really think about that actually.
Yeah, there's 2 heart containers in the village of outcasts, and many moldrums. I think all money except for 1 thing of blueberries. And so like the siege was really dry in some locations and kind of ball necked, and yeah, no, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I almost forgot the silvers as well. I almost went up Gannis Tower without it. But I like pretty confident with the silver list, but I think it saves me time to just do the silvers.
Yeah, I think my thoughts would be it might not save time, but it wouldn't lose time, and it would make the fight more consistent.
Yeah.
You know, there'd be less room for error. So even just having a smaller margin of error would be huge. And then it's kind of like, well, you know, probably time saved. So definitely, you know, I definitely agree with that myself. But yeah, we're just kind of chilling, watching Ctack. That was really cool. I don't know if there's anything else that kind of comes to mind.
Where did he find the butter store?
Yeah, I found the butter. I'm trying to remember where I found the butter.
It wasn't Turtle or Ganon, was it?
I don't think it was Turok because he did it after. Did you ever check King's Tomb?
No. I just went straight up to Turtle to see if I was in go mode after Meyer.
Yeah, it might have been King's Tomb, but don't quote me on that one.
Yeah. So it's interesting that the game wanted you to go into Swamp without any swords at all. Like at least they gave us 2 swords, but like it's not a fun feeling going into Swamp with no swords.
Yeah, and it was kind of funny too because you guys got access to Swamp without even the hook shot. So you're kind of Ctack got the mirror before you, but for how we were viewing it, the option was half of Swamp, just a little over half of Pod, and then the mountain. So then the mountain was good. Got the hook shot, basically only the hook shot, and you know with the mirror that opened up Swamp, and then the sword, and you know kind of everything from there.
Yeah, Pod was pretty crazy. This is the first time ever that I saw like not a single small key was locked by the bow.
Yeah, it's definitely again just a really kind of fun scene to watch, and just you know, linear, not linear, linear again. Like it was neat. Ctack is finishing up here, which is nice. Was there anything in Town? I'm trying to remember.
The lamp was in Thieves Town.
The lamp, that's right. I think that was in Vanilla Big Key Chest.
Ctack
maybe
just
not.
got bodied by Ganon.
It's unfortunate. Does he still have that blue potion, or did he use it?
I think he might have used it.
It's looking like he did. It kind of looked like he was going to bonk the tree for the fairy drop. But he'll at least get to stock up on potions here. Or... Oh, no, okay. I thought I went to 3 for a second. Give a kiss to the witch. The witch wife. And lots of magic. Lots of health. Oh, did he have a blue? I thought he just bought a blue and a green. Oh no, maybe I'm confused.
I think he might have.
He had 2.
Yeah, because he bought 2 and he used 1. So maybe he had 1 and he just bought a blue and a green, but I don't think I saw him buy 2 blue. Yeah, either way. Now he has lots. Now it's like, you know, it'll be a no-brainer. You'll get it. No, do diagonal. If you're in that spin speed state, you want to go up diagonally on the stairs. You can move much quicker. But it's good that I did the hook speed though.
Hook speed is just item dashing with the hook shot on stairs, correct?
Yeah, you don't need to be on the stairs. You just need to do the hook shot and the boots at the same time to enter the glitch state, but then you need to touch stairs in order to activate the actual speed.
Got it. Just wanted to confirm that.
Yeah, no problem. I like the hook shot in between. It can be really fun to see what people kind of do between the phases. Most people will just kind of attack Ganon, but can do some fun stuff. Sometimes like swinging an extra. Ooh.
Oh,
Got
that
hit
was.
right there.
Ooh.
It's really funny. It's part of the game mechanic, but the way the game reads propulsion is that the opposite direction you're holding is where the game will launch you if you get damaged. So for the most part, when people like, let's say, run into a soldier, they're holding forward, and so when they get hurt, they'll get knocked backwards. But given the nature of Ganon and the fire bats, people are holding away from the pit. So what will happen is they'll get hit and they'll go, oh no, I'm instinctually going to hold away from the pit. But because of that, the direction in which they get sent is towards the pit. So it's really, kind of cute in a way to see players be like, oh, the fire bats are like Ganon's glitched or something. It's like, no, it's actually a game mechanic that's being used against the player in a cruel way.
That is a cruel trick. And it looks like he finished at the unofficial time of 2 hours, 17 minutes.
And he's already here. GG's.
Thank you. That wasn't nearly as bad as yesterday. I chose not to do silverless.
See, I wasn't gonna mention it, but you had to bring it up.
Nah, it's all good.
Yeah, so any thoughts on the siege or
I realized that I mismarked my tracker for Skull Woods, and that caused a huge time sink. Because I died on Macula, 3 times?
Yes.
Yeah, that
At
wasn't
least twice.
ideal. At least twice, yeah.
No, 3. I know you died twice and then left and got potions, and then I think you only died twice, but maybe 3. Don't quote me on it.
Yeah.
But it was
Hey.
really cool that you used the portal to at least get back to the entrance really quickly.
Yeah, that was something.
It was really good, actually. I was even
Flying
thinking that
head
at the
pole
time.
is kind of fun, though. Always is. Because as soon as I saw that Skull Woods was not a crystal, I was like, oh shoot, now I have 2 of the pendants. Might as well finish up line.
I'm trying to remember if you both bombed the pedestal. I think Walther might have put like 1 bomb, but then
No, I
you
think
went
I
down.
skipped it.
Oh, you skipped it? Okay.
I want to agree with that. I do have a question for you, Ctack. Did you
Sure.
buy...
Just a second, I gotta turn up my headphones.
Sounds good.
Alright, what's up?
Did you buy 2 blue potions right before Ganon?
No, I did not. I only bought 1.
Okay, we had that question, like, did he buy 2? Did he have 1? What's going on here?
Yeah. I should have remembered that I bought 2 after I got back from Skullwood, or when I was finishing up Skull Woods, and it was just a misplay on my end. I could have finished Ganon without doing that.
Yeah, that's no problem. I was just wondering at the end. Well, we were both wondering at the end, real briefly. I kind of looked away. I'm like, ooh, did he double tap the blue potion there? Like, I didn't even see him buy twice. I'm not sure. It suddenly became we figured out the routing and the logic and everything. So that was the last mystery.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my my routing logic was not very, very good in my opinion for this particular seed.
It wasn't too bad. I think the big thing that really got you was when you went to go check Shovel, you didn't go into the Dark World Sutherland's house and then pair the Mirror Cave with the Shovel spot. Because
Yeah,
if you did that, you would have had the bow and and then of course everything kind of from there. But
Yeah,
you're
everything
actually
was falling
really
together.
benefiting. Yeah, you got the mirror first. You were actually really benefiting from that early on, but just between when everything was said and done, just like the position of you two kind of shifted a few times.
Yeah, at least it was at least somewhat entertaining to watch.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah, I was kind of
Not
glad.
not at your expense or anything, if that's what you mean, but
Oh, no,
it was really cool.
It's all good. I was really surprised that the boots were in Meyer, though. That just kind of worked out real nice.
No, it's always handy. Yeah, and the beginning of Meyer too. Like when you go to the one bridge test, and then you go down and grab the key, grab some boots. Okay, get to do Meyer a little bit quicker.
Oh yeah. As you say, once I got into go mode, it didn't take too long to finish up. Meyer, Ice Palace, and then Turtle Rock. Which Turtle Rock, I had ran out of magic right before the large cane room. I was like, shoot, this happened yesterday too.
Yeah, and it's kind of unfortunate thing. Like, if a person did not get the safety door and they died, then they're back at that one spot, and it can be really difficult to get magic to actually progress.
Yeah. But in that one room with the two pokies, you got magic in the bottom left.
Yeah, just barely enough to kind of carry a person through.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so it's definitely fun. I'm trying to think if there's anything else kind of worthy to bring up.
I can't think of anything.
Did Walter go back and get the silvers, or did he do silverless?
I got the silvers. Like, I remember it right before I fluted, but I considered not picking them up.
I got you. Yeah, that was in the back of my mind.
Really sure. Yeah, I wasn't really sure what was fastest, going to pick them up or not.
Oh yeah, just with my awful performance with silverless Ganon yesterday, it was literally find the silvers or just die trying.
Definitely. Yeah, it's kind of thing like we were mentioning it to Walther real briefly, but it's the idea where even if the time to take to go get the silvers like be a little bit up in the air, it makes the fight very consistent. And you have to do 12 spins versus 4 arrow shots, and the arrow shots can go very quickly. So and it's not like you're necessarily going to get the perfect cycles for the 12 spins anyway, and then you have to worry about magic and torch glitch, and so even just in terms of safety or consistency, it would be a boon. And then the time might also have been safe too. So I definitely do agree with the decision.
Yeah, what was kind of funny though is when I was trying to get the torch glitch, that for the second, I actually got the pixel or the frame perfect non-spin attack on Ganon, which is really funny.
Nice. I missed that, unfortunately, but little things like that are always a treat to see.
Oh yeah, I was just like, if I only I could do that consistently.
I mean, that's the nice thing about Rando, is that the game has a lot of depth to it. And so when you play, you just want to play really clean and straightforward. And as you learn things, you add to your gameplay, and so it's the kind of thing where, people might learn how to do basic silverless, but then, how to do it cleaner or more effective, or, just tiny little things tacking onto your gameplay, tiny little things.
Oh, for sure. And it's literally just practice. And that's one of the things that I've really been lacking. Because 152 collection rate, if I played completely cleanly, that would be pretty decent.
No, that'd actually be really good.
But those 7 deaths really hurt, and getting all the pendants when I didn't have to, and the usual.
Yeah. And of course, there's also the fact that the seed kind of takes you on a little bit of a rigmarole. So even if the end collection rate's down, then the time can still get inflated a bit too.
For sure.
I was pretty happy with like my execution this race, but my routing was just terrible, and also forgetting K45 for so long.
It was a little bit awkward though. It was the kind of seed where you could kind of go to a few spots, but nothing necessarily seemed clean cut. So yeah, it's a little bit difficult with that. Little things maybe could have improved, but yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I went to Graveyard Ledge so I wouldn't forget it, and instead I forgot the other mirror cave.
Yeah.
Yeah, my like Giselle said, my my routing for Mirror Cave, or what is it, Cave 42?
It's supposed to be K45, I believe.
Cave 45, whatever the name it is, though. I did not route that cleanly at all. It kind of actually became an afterthought. Yeah, and then it just happened to have the bow.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think that was probably your biggest blunder in terms of routing. Like that's the only thing that actually sticks out to my mind. A lot of other things clicked really well, but not having that bow naturally forced you to do different things. So that's where things kind of went out of order. But it's still really difficult too because again when you go through and you're trying to do things, it's kind of like Swiss cheese. Like there's a bunch of little locations kind of all over, and then you're trying and string them together as best you can. So from a viewer perspective, it made sense to kind of go with like Link's House Dark World to pair that cave with the shovel. But it's also really quick to just go check the shovel and then go on to the next location, right? Because you still did have a lot to check. So it's one of those things where it's like, it can be a little bit RSA.
Anything else?
I think that sums that all up. That was fun. Walter got me by about 13 minutes.
It's not bad at all. I would like to say go ahead and give our runners a follower. They did a wonderful job today. That's WaltherIV and Ctack2, and those links are in the chat. And then give my co-commentator a follow as well. Done a lot of educating and taught me a lot of new things, and done a wonderful job as well.
Oh, thank you. It's definitely really fun to commentate with you too. Like I've done commentary with people that have done commentary before, and they can still be really awkward to do commentary with, or it can be hard to kind of bounce the energy off of them, to get some of that synergy. But no, it was definitely a lot of fun. Yeah, keep doing it.
I was nervous as all get out. I'm like, oh my god, I'm botched. All I'm going is, yeah, that's true. You're right.
It happens. It happens. Or you'll watch the VOD and be like, wow, I say that's a good option like all the time. Like it's not like, or that's I like their decision, and then you're like, I've said I like their decision like 12 times this race or something. It's very common. It's very common.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, no, don't worry. You did a good job. Like in terms of constructive criticism, the big thing is not to be silent for too long if you can help it. That doesn't mean try to unorganically force conversation, because if it comes across as genuine, then people aren't going to latch to it. But if you're really quiet, then people are going to be like, kind of what's going on, right? You're maintaining the illusion of control. Just even saying little things, even small talk can be good too. Just having something, casual in mind to bring up.
I will keep that in mind. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream there. Any objections?
Nope.
Works for me.